Thanks for tuning in. You're watching ARIRANG News Break on this Tuesday, June 5th. I'm Handaeun in Seoul. Rain has been pouring down with a monsoon front hovering over the Korean peninsula. The country's central region, including Seoul, has been hit hard by the downpour in particular. For more, let's go over to our Kim Hae-sung on the line. Hae-sung?
Hi, Daeun. It has been raining on and off here in Seoul, and the heavy rain warnings issued at 9 a.m. today are still in place for Seoul, Incheon, and southern Gangwon-do province. The Korea Meteorological Administration says parts of the central region could see up to 300 millimeters of rain over the next couple of days. As of 2 p.m., Ujeongbu, just north of Seoul, had already been pounded by 200 millimeters of rain, and Gapyeong 240 millimeters. Dobonggu district in Seoul has seen 140 millimeters so far. However, as the monsoon front moves northward, the heavy rain advisories have been lifted for Daejeon and the Jeollado provinces, but the advisories are still in place for Chungcheong-do province and Gyeonggi-do province. Due to the heavy rain around the capital area, several flights have been grounded. Officials say 14 domestic flights departing Seoul's Gimpo International Airport were canceled this morning.
And Hae-sung, how are the road conditions?
Well, there have been several road closures, and because this marks the heaviest rainfall so far this summer, and the water keeps rising, the Dongbu Expressway and Chamsu Bridge over the Hangang River have been closed, leading to congestion. And the Cheonggyecheon stream is completely closed. But while the rainfall has tapered somewhat at the moment here in the capital, we can expect sporadic bouts of heavy rain through Wednesday. Back to you, Daeun.
Thank you, Hae-sung, for that. President Park Geun-hye is clearly making efforts to find new momentum in administering state affairs for the remaining 19 months of her term. On Thursday, representatives from the government, presidential office, and parliament will meet for the first time since the 20th National Assembly kicked off in May. At the meeting, they'll discuss pending bills on economic revitalization, as well as the government's fiscal stimulus plan announced last week that includes a supplementary budget of $8.5 billion. President Park is also gearing up to pull the divided ruling party together. On Friday, all ruling Saenuri Party lawmakers are invited to the presidential office for lunch, where the president will call for cooperation in carrying out her policy initiatives. In a bid to expand communication with the National Assembly, President Park has vowed to sit down with party leaders on a more regular basis. At the National Assembly, the second and final day of a parliamentary interpellation session has resumed after a brief suspension this morning due to escalating fights between the ruling and opposition party members. Let's get further details from our parliamentary correspondent, Shin Se-min. Se-min?
Daeun, the session this morning was suspended right before noon when some of the lawmakers on the floor clashed over questions being asked by the People's Party lawmaker Kim Dong-chul. Kim was asking the Prime Minister about the government's parachute appointments, where the government has appointed officials with connections but little experience to positions of power. With some of the lawmakers yelling at each other, the session was adjourned, and the leaders of the three main political parties held a brief meeting to contain the situation. It was quite the scene and came as a disappointment to those watching, as the 20th National Assembly is only a month old, and there were some hopes that lawmakers would be able to work together better than their predecessors.
Well, Se-min, citizens had enough of vegetative parliament, no doubt about that, and the 20th Assembly faces daunting challenges ahead. So how are things progressing now?
Well, the lawmakers returned to the floor about half an hour ago, and the interpellation session has resumed since then. Now, today's session is focusing on non-economic issues, as the first session on Monday focused on economic-related matters. Lawmakers will continue grilling government officials over a recent corruption scandal that has seen several lawmakers accused of nepotism and graft. The session is also likely to cover Korea's struggle to bring down ultra-fine dust levels, the oxyhumidifier disinfectant scandal, and the deployment of the U.S. missile defense system, also known as that. That's all the latest I have for now. Daeun?
Thank you, Semin. Keep us updated throughout the day. Korea says nothing has been set yet on when or where the U.S. missile defense system THAAD is to be deployed, playing down mounting speculation about the subject. Seoul's defense ministry said Tuesday the decision will be made based on the results of ongoing discussions by a South Korea-U.S. joint working group, which was launched in March. The government's comments counter speculation that a U.S. official's visit to Seoul is linked to THAAD discussions, as his meeting with defense and foreign ministry officials. Frank Rose, the Assistant Secretary of State for Arms Control, Verification and Compliance, told reporters at the foreign ministry that he is here for discussions on space policy and refrained from directly commenting on whether the THAAD issue was discussed. Juno, NASA's solar-powered spacecraft, has made history by successfully entering Jupiter's orbit after a 5-year journey that spanned over 2.8 billion kilometers. Juno was launched with the goal of studying Jupiter's composition and magnetic field. It'll also try to determine the amount of water it contains and the possible existence of a rocky core, all of which could provide clues to how the solar system was formed. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California, which oversees the mission, has said that the spacecraft will enter an initial polar orbit for 53 days. Juno is expected to stay in orbit until February 2018. Juno is only the second spacecraft to orbit Jupiter, following the Galileo probe, which orbited the planet from 1995 to 2003. And that wraps it up. Keep it tuned to ARIRANG for more domestic and global news updates throughout the day. Thank you for watching.